The Biden White House is facing increasing criticism from all sides for its mishandling of classified documents. The delay in revealing the documents that were found in the president's former office after he left the vice presidency, and the subsequent discovery of more classified documents at his home in Wilmington, including in his garage.
Mr. President, classified material next to your Corvette? What were you thinking?
Let me, we're going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage, okay? So it's not like you're sitting out in the street.
So the material was in a locked garage?
Yes, as well as my Corvette. But as I said earlier this week, people know I take classified documents and classified material seriously.
Joining me now is Jeremy Bash, former chief of staff at the CIA and the Pentagon. Jeremy, in your former jobs, you were very familiar. You had to deal with classified materials every single day. And a lot of questions are being asked about, first of all, from the standpoint of the National Archives and of whoever's supposed to handle these things, aren't they numbered, labeled, tracked from point A to point B? You get a document, you ask for a document. If you're the president, the vice president, after the presidential daily brief, you ask your military aide or your national security advisor. I want to see something more on that. And so a document is handed to you. Then what happens? You just take it with you to your to your post-vice presidency office? Isn't there a tracking mechanism?
Yeah, I suspect, Andrea, that what we're going to find out is that the then vice president, the current president, didn't mishandle the documents himself, but that staff, when they were wrapping up his office at the end of his tenure, they commingled some classified documents with unclassified documents, and they placed it in different storage locations where he was going to be doing work, both at his residence and his office in Washington. Now, again, we have to let the facts proceed under the investigation. The best practice is, of course, to have cover sheets on any classified material so that they stand out, so that when you're sweeping documents together, you can see. They don't necessarily have a numeric tracking record on every copy. That's a reform that's been discussed, and maybe there's a technological solution for this. I think the real issue, Andrea, is not whether there was commingling, because unfortunately commingling does happen from time to time. The question is, what do you do about it when you find it? And really, we have in the two special counsel cases two different reactions. In what we now know is that in the Biden case, they immediately called the archives, they immediately called the Justice Department, and they gave the documents back. In the Trump matter, it just is important because 3 times the archivists went to them and they said, here's everything, and then they found more than 100 classified documents. They sent a grand jury subpoena, and they said, this is everything. Then they found 38 more classified documents. And then in the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago, they found another 100-plus documents. So more than 300 documents on 3 separate occasions. These cases actually don't look anything alike. And I would say when we train intelligence professionals, we train them to do the right thing. And I think the Biden case is an example, as we now know it from the facts, of the right thing. If the facts change, we'll change our assessment.
And by the way, in the Trump case, his lawyers signed an affidavit saying that everything had been turned over and it had not been. And then subsequently, even after all of this, they found more documents in another storage space in Florida. That said, the handling of this, not announcing it right away. Okay, so you don't announce it 2 days or 6 days before the election. Bad, but not grievous. But then you sit on it until it is leaked to a network newscast for months and don't reveal it. And then when you reveal that, you don't explain that you also had more in Wilmington, which they knew at the time. Why not just put it all out there? And then you have White House briefings that are, really, I don't even know how to describe the level of the White House briefings on this.
Yeah, I can't explain it. I obviously understand the political context in which we're all operating. But from a pure national security matter, if they're returning documents and they're complying with the law and they're doing exactly what they should be, they actually should, I think, say that because they should be proud of it. Now, of course, some could say that it might have made them look bad because there are comparisons to the Trump case. But I actually think this is the ultimate point, which is when you hold the two cases together, not only do they look different, they look diametrically opposed. They're the exact opposite end of the spectrum. And as I referenced, there are training mechanisms to train people. What happens if you find commingling? What happens if you find classified information in a place that it shouldn't be stored? There's a right way to do business and a wrong way to do business. So far, I don't think the Biden administration has anything to hide. I wish they would have come forward earlier, because I think it actually is a good example set for the rest of the intelligence community professionals who have to handle this information about what you do when you find commingled documents.
Do you think that the Attorney General should have appointed a special counsel in this case? Because this elevates it to a whole new, whole new level politically. It also probably prolongs decision making if it turns out that there is no real wrongdoing here.
It might. I think it's probably in an abundance of caution. Merrick Garland is trying to say I'm above politics, or the department should be above politics. And so it gets him off the X. It makes it seem like there's an even-handedness to this. I think at the end of the day, the cases are going to be decided on the fact pattern. We don't know all the facts in the Biden case. The facts in the Trump case, I think, are pretty clear-cut, that there was criminal wrongdoing. We'll see what the two special counsels opine.
And the fact that now we've got this James Comer of the Oversight Committee, this new, hit them with everything you've got, whether or not it matters. That whole new committee is now saying in a letter to the White House counsel, well, Hunter Biden stayed at the House, and did he have access to the documents that were in the House? And he had foreign investments. So trying to connect these two investigations, it really should be the intelligence committees, I would assume, that have oversight over this and over the damage assessments.
That seems pretty strained in my view. I think there are legitimate questions to be asked about the handling of documents. I actually think there are legitimate questions to be asked about whether or not there should be reforms to the way presidential records are gathered up and stored. I bet you if you went back to the presidential records of George Bush and Barack Obama and Donald Trump, you would probably find that there was some commingling. The question isn't, is there commingling, which is not good, but it does happen. The question is, what do you do about it? And again, I think we have to set a good example for people who have access to classified information. So let's show them what right looks like.
Well, thank you so much, Jeremy Bash. It's great to see you.